Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And a couple of birthday cards that I made using some of the newest Pretty Pink Posh release. Their February release is all birthday themed, and this year's a big one. It's their 10th birthday, which I literally had to go back through my videos. I remember when she started 10 years ago, and I was a big fan. And then I guest designed for Paulina, the owner of Pretty Pink Posh, 8 years ago, something like that. I remember when she reached out to me, and I was so excited because I was like, I love your stuff. So yeah, I've been using Pretty Pink Posh products off and on for many years. Um, yeah, yeah, and then more consistently the last couple years or so. I love it, love it. So yeah, I will have links to the new release in the description box below the video, as well as the supply list, links to everything I used. I will have a link, as always, to my blog post. Definitely head on over there and check that out, because I'll have the photos, picture links, visual, everything, but also links to everyone else that is hopping today, because I'm part of a blog hop. And it's multiple days of blog hops, tons of inspiration, giveaways, all the things. So check on all of that, and then keep watching. I'll show you guys how I made these fun rainbow sparkly hot foil, through everything but the kitchen sink at these cards. They were really fun. So keep watching, and I'll show you guys how I made them. So to make these super bright rainbow birthday cards, I started with my backgrounds. And I have two panels, A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, of smooth white cardstock. And I have a selection of inks. I'm actually mixing Concord 9th inks and Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively saturated inks, because I've shown these inks, talked about these inks lots over the last however many months, last year. And I find the formulas between the two inks are very, very similar, and they play nice together. So I just picked my favorite colors to make a rainbow from between the both lines, and I'll have links to the specific colors and everything with the supplies. And like I do with anything rainbow, I always generally start with the yellow. One, because it's kind of in the middle, so it gives me a bit more of a visual, even though this time I started a little too low, so I had to kind of squeeze in the remaining colors along the green and the blue and the purple, but I made it work. It was fine. But I always start with yellow, because yellow, depending on the tools I'm using, what I'm doing, yellow is it's a finicky color, and I don't want to get that into my brushes and whatnot, like the other colors, because yellow just picks up everything, So this is also just to keep my brush for yellow getting all gunked up. And I'm using my little Trinity stamps brushes. I showed these in a couple of recent videos, and I was like, dude, these are nice. They're very soft. I'm really liking them. If you've got blending brushes, you don't need new ones. I have so many. And I jump between all the different things. So anyway, I blended those backgrounds. They weren't perfect. I didn't really worry about getting a perfectly smooth blend, because especially with something like this, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to use a stencil over it. I'm going to splatter, and then I'm going to add all the other little elements. So the first bit was just to get the color down, and I used a lighter hand on purpose, because over top of it, I'm using this Pretty Pink Posh Birthday Words stencil. Now, there is a method to my madness here. Do you need to do it this way? No. But again, this just worked. So I have 2 grip mats. Again, do you need multiples? No, but I bought a second one to specifically do things like this with. Again, I'm being extra, I have turned very bougie. Anyway, so I have a card front that I blended, and then I have what will be my card base, the inside of the card, where I used a bit of my Post-it tape, that I use over and over again. That is at the score line, to keep any ink from getting past the score line. And then I line up the stencil, and I do the same thing. I start with yellow. especially with this. I start with yellow because, again, I don't want to get the other colors picked up on my brush. The other colors, it's fine. Like, the orange is picking up a bit of the yellow. It's fine. Orange is darker than yellow. You're not going to see it. It's not going to contaminate the brush. Not a big deal. So when I am inking over the stencil on the ink blended panel there on the left, I go in heavy. I press that brush into the ink and I go in heavy because I want it to layer on top and show up. And then when I move the stencil to the inside of the card, I do not re-ink the brush. And I also use a very light hand. I'm basically, it's like I'm dusting, really, like I do that in real life. I just lightly move the brush, a much lighter hand, because on the inside of the card, I want the color, I want the pattern, everything, but I don't want it to be full strength ink because I need to be able to write over this. So I do, the full strength on the background panel, and then on the inside of the card, I do not re-ink the brush and just lightly dust the brush back and forth, and it's good to go. And you can see, I'm working back and forth, and I'm doing all four pieces, both card front panels and both insides, and kind of no rhyme or reason. I'm just jumping all around. But this was really easy to line up over and over again. Now, could you just do all of this at once? Like, line up the stencil on the background, ink up all the pieces, move the stencil over? Yes, 100%. Like I said, I was just being extra about all of this. And it worked. It worked like this. It was easy to line up. If the stencil was a little more difficult to put back in place each time, I wouldn't have done it like this. But I just found the way the words were everything. It was so simple to just move it back and forth. It was fine. It was fine. But yeah, you could totally do all this basically in one pass and then move it over, ink it up. The only thing, obviously, and that was, again, my main reason, is that yellow ink and my little yellow brush. And can you wash your brushes? You can, totally. Do I? No. So I do things like this to avoid having to do that. Because I don't. I can't even tell you. I think I've washed a brush once. I did it once. It took like 3 days to dry, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. I would rather purchase extra brushes. So I did. Anyway, I went back and forth. All the exact same ink colors in basically the exact same places. Just much more ink, just, a heavier hand. Whereas when I was blending those backgrounds, I was still going in with a much lighter hand to get the color down. And then insides of the cards, just light, simple, easy. So I'll get all of that, all those little happy birthday words and all the fun rainbow colors. Love it. I don't know what, like birthday cards and rainbows, and I'm going to use the candle wafer dies. There's going to be a ton of splatter. Oh, so much splatter. This was fun. So once I was done those card fronts, put them into my splat box. And for the first splatter, because there's more, I used my Picket Fence liquid splatter in or paper splatter watercolor in liquid white snowflake. This is a very similar look to Perfect Pearl powder and water, which I've shown in a bajillion videos. Same sort of idea. So it's just really pretty shimmer without being too intense. Now the next splatter freaks people out usually, but just go with it. It works. It works. I'm using Black Soot Distress Paint. I get asked a lot what's the best product for black splatter? Black Soot Distress Paint. Hands down, nothing works as well as this. When all the other types of splatter, like white, the shimmers, etc., there's so many options. You just go with what works for you, like what you've got, whatever's your favorite, it's fine. With black can get finicky. Because a lot of other products, as soon as you try to water them down, they start to, fade out, etc. Black Soot Distress Paint. It is pure liquid because Ranger doesn't add fillers to their paint. So you just get black paint. Love it. Always remember though, it is permanent. Wash your brush, etc. as soon as you're done. Do not let this dry in it because it's super permanent. So I put the distress paint. I had put it on my palette, used my little fan brush, cleaned everything off, set those aside. Then I did some hot foiling. Now, if you're not into hot foiling, you can skip this completely because the outline wafer dies I use, the set comes with the words as well. I'm using just the Happy Birthday hot foil plates, and I didn't include it in this video. I had actually attempted to foil these onto just regular black cardstock, and for whatever reason, it didn't work for me this time. Sometimes it's a hit and a miss. And I was determined, though, I wanted them on black cardstock, and I was like, another option is like black glossy cardstock. Anything, the smoother the cardstock, the better results you're going to get with hot foiling. So like glossy cardstocks, etc. They foil like perfection. But I didn't want it to be glossy, and I was like, what the heck? Then I remembered I have Distressed Black Heavystock. Oh, this stuff. I've never foiled over. This is actually my very first time foiling on it. Oh, does it foil like a dream? I now will have to pick up extra packs of Distressed Black Heavystock. I've just had it sitting here. It is gorgeous. Even if you want to use it just like as black cardstock, it is like, it's so black. It's like Vanta black level of black. It's kind of crazy. But also it foils amazingly because it is ridiculously smooth. So I used the Happy Birthday hot foil plate and some of this speckled PRISM foil. Beautiful. Like, look at that. It literally foiled perfectly. I even did the big, I foiled the leftover pieces using the big flat hot foil plate. I didn't include that footage in this video. I will probably show it in an upcoming video because you can kind of see it there at the top of the screen. But same thing, it foiled perfectly. Love it. So I had some fun with the hot foiling. But like I said, if you're not into hot foiling, you can just use the word die cuts and like die cut some pretty cardstock or glitter paper, those sorts of things. But I used the outlines from the Happy Birthday, I think they call it Shadow, Happy Birthday Shadow die set. And you can see, yeah, there's the words there at the top of the screen. I just used the outlines to die cut these sentiments. Could I have just used my Platinum 6 die cut machine that I had out when I was hot foiling? Yes, but I used my Empress. Do you need multiple die cut machines? No. One, I do this as a job, and two, I'm like a magpie with everything. Not just the glittery, shimmery, sparkly things, but just like tools and inks. You know, I'm turning into a serious like I joke about this being a professional curator of, you know, crafty goodies and all my little stashes and hoards of things. And yeah, anyway, for my sort of main focus, I guess, I use the new birthday candles wafer dies. I've talked about this in other like more recent videos because my plan this year, especially, like I don't normally make many birthday cards. I just don't. It just is. But I really enjoy making them. And yeah, I'm making a point now to make more birthday cards. And one thing I absolutely love is birthday candles. I don't know why. I think it's just the nostalgia of it all. I love, you know, stamping them, die cutting them, whatever. So this little set is adorable. There's all sorts of little options, you know, so you can build different basically patterns of birthday candles. And I liked the size of them. So again, die cut just scraps of smooth white cardstock. This is why I don't get rid of my scraps, because I use them all the time. And I stuck them to my grip mat. So I die cut the scraps with several of the birthday candles wafer dies. And then for these, I was using just my little pint-sized paper pouncers and the exact same inks that I used for the backgrounds and the stenciling and everything. And I'm pouncing those onto these die cut pieces so I can get all these candles in the colors same as the background. And then for the little candle flames, I had used just a teeny tiny little Waffle Flower 0+ shader brush to add that little bit of orange. Because, yeah, I talk about this a lot in my videos about, like, don't worry about, like, realism, you know, or, like, the bird does not have to look how it does in nature. Same with the florals or anything else. It doesn't matter. It's card making, and it's being creative and doing your thing. I say all of that because just like everything, do as I say, not as I do. I get really weird with birthday candles. They need to be accurate, okay? So all the little wicks, when you light a birthday candle, they turn black, all right? I have weird issues, you guys. Anyway, I took the little die cut pieces and I just colored it with a black Copic marker. Doesn't matter what type of marker you use. It whatever's black. You could also die cut those pieces with black cardstock, but it was faster to actually just color them. And do you need to do this? No, you could skip it completely. They look fine as is. But like I said, I've got issues, okay? So I just used a Copic marker, and I work on a glass mat, so you saw the little bits of the Copic marker on there. I just clean that up with a little rubbing alcohol when I'm done, and it's good to go. So I, colored the little pieces, and then everything I just adhered with craft tacky glue. I kind of forgot I was like this zoomed in, but it's fine. I'm actually like on screen. The amount of times that I like film huge chunks of my videos and realize I was not on screen at all because I'm just in my own little world, I was building birthday candles. So I'd hear all the different little elements, and again, I was having fun with it, and I was going to just adhere all these and then stick them on the card. But as I was like putting them together, I was like, should I add some splatter to these? Like, they need something more. Like, they look fine with ink blending. They're cute, the colors, everything. But, I was just kind of like doing the whole, like, what if? Like, do I want to add, and then shimmer was the big one. I was like, well, how do I want to add shimmer to these? Because they're birthday candles. Let's make them even more fun. So I got everything assembled, and then I decided to make them glittery. And the easiest way to do this is glitter embossing powder. So I pulled out my Judikins Iridescent Sparkle Embossing Powder. I showed this in recent videos as well. I've used the same embossing powder off and on for, I don't even know how many years I've had this container. The container is huge. It's like double the size of a standard embossing powder container. And yeah, it's basically just clear embossing powder with glitter, and it's fabulous. And people have been asking me lately because I've been like using it again, and if it like yellows at all. I've never had an issue. It just looks like it looks. It doesn't like tint anything under it. Like, it's just literally straight up clear embossing powder with glitter in it. So I used another little pint-sized pouncer to press clear embossing ink onto these candles. You could totally press the candles like directly into the ink pad. That's what I used to do back in the day, but honestly, I hate it. I love my clear embossing ink. I use it a ton. It's one of my most used inks. I cannot stand the feel of it on my skin. It's like, because it's not like sticky, but it's a little sticky, and it irritates me. So I will use anything. So the little pouncers, perfection. It avoids me from having to press and like touch the ink in any way, shape, or form. And I use my little reverse tweezers to hold these candles at the little flame, because I left the shimmer off the flames. So that way I could hold that and then melt it with my heat tool. So I'd pounce the clear ink, and then I would pour the iridescent embossing powder over the little candle. I was using a little brush to wipe off any of the powder that was getting where I didn't want it, like on the wicks, etc. And then I just kept repeating the process. So applying the ink, pouring over the powder, wiping off where I didn't want it, melting it with my heat tool, going on to the next candle. So now all of my candles are sparkly and love it. This is a way you can basically kind of make your own sparkle paper if you don't have any, or you need a specific color. It is not the same as like glitter paper, because good luck trying to get me to stop using my glitter paper. Like, you'll have to pull it from my cold dead fingers, because you guys know I love glitter in all of its shapes and forms, and glitter paper, there's no substitute for it. However, this is fun, and it got me all the colors, to match everything. So I figured out how I wanted to lay out my little candles, and I started in the middle, because it's easier to sort of line that up and then work your way out. And then I decided to kind of adhere all the other ones just a little bit wonky. They don't need to be perfectly lined up or perfectly straight, anything like that. So I adhered them again with just craft tacky glue, and then pulled out some of my black and white baker's twine, because there's something, I don't know, for me, when it comes to doing anything with rainbow, I love how black and white looks with rainbow. It just sets it off perfectly, in my opinion. So baker's twine for the win. So I wrapped that around these card fronts, which I trimmed down a bit. As you saw, I trimmed them down to just slightly smaller than my A2 cards. So right now these panels are like 4 inches by 5 1/4, something like that. And then, yeah, wrapped around the baker's twine. I use my reverse tweezers to help hold things in place so I can sit there and fiddle with the bow and get it the way I want it. And then you remove the reverse tweezers, pull it tight, it's good to go. And once I was happy with it, I did the same thing with the second card panel. And then to adhere my hot foiled happy birthday sentiments, I used some thin black foam strips to pop these up just a little bit. Plus, like, there's all the dimension from like the layers of the candles and the baker's twine and whatnot. So pop those into place, and same thing, I put them on a little bit of an angle, which again for me is like really out there. Like I've talked about this. I have a hard time like putting things on an angle. Everything usually has to just be straight. So this is me like living on the edge. And then to put these onto the card bases, I used Simon's Big Mama foam tape. Again, it'll give it a little bit of dimension, you know, a little bit of lift, but not a whole lot of bulk. So I put that on the back of these panels, peeled off the backing, made sure I was adhering to the card fronts. And then as a final little bit of embellishment, I pulled out some oldie but goodie sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh and just stuck a few of these onto each of these card fronts, adhere them into place with dabs of Craft Tacky Glue. And as my final, but wait, there's more, bit of embellishment, I used my white gel pen on the little candle flames because they needed something. You know, everything else got either splatter or glitter or hot foil. So the flames got a little bit of white gel pen, just cause. So I added that, and once that was done, these cards were complete. So yeah, like I said, I threw everything basically but the kitchen sink at these, and they were fun. I had so much fun making them. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said in the intro, I will link to the Pretty Pink Posh February release. It'll be linked in the description box below the video. And then I'll have a link to my blog post, which I highly recommend checking out because, like I said, there's a blog hop, links to tons of fabulous inspiration. There's the picture links, the visual supply list, a lot. So that'll all be in the description box below the video for anyone who is interested. Thank you all so very much for watching, thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.